Good morning, my YouTube family. It's your boy Zary from the XMG coming at you on Tuesday morning. Pretty early Tuesday morning. So like always, got my coffee. So, we are here to talk a little bit about, there was some update notes from Lizardbreath yesterday that I want to get to. And then I'm just going to kind of tell you what's going on with the channel, what's upcoming, things like that. Before we get into that, if you're just finding me for the first time and you like what you're seeing, click that subscribe button, turn on notifications so you don't miss out on good stuff like this coming your way. So let's jump into it. We have had Battlegrounds for a week. And one of the videos I'm going to make here is my reaction to Battlegrounds and my thoughts on it after a week. And that got pushed to the wayside yesterday because they're going to change it. And we're going to kind of get into that and my speculation. Now, I have no inside information on this. And if I did, I'd share it and my thoughts on what's going on. So let's take a look at that real quick in case you haven't seen it. It says, thank you all for providing your constructive feedback on our newest additions to the game, the Battlegrounds beta and artifacts. We have been listening to it closely, reading all your message carefully, taking your suggestions and concerns into consideration, and coming up with different ways on how we can improve your player experience. Thank you for taking an active part in the conversation about Battlegrounds. This really helps us understand what we did wrong and what could be done better. We realized that Battlegrounds beta gameplay turned out to be different from what you are used to in Dragon Champions. We want to ensure that this is fun and a pleasant experience for you, and certainly not a stressful one. Based on your response and feedback, we are going to introduce some changes to make Battlegrounds more tactical and turn-based rather than real-time. We are going to share the exact details about changes a little bit later, so please stay tuned. Alright, we're going to stop right there, and we're going to talk about that little section. So, I know Battlegrounds for a lot of people hasn't been well received, and I might be in the minority, but I kind of like Battlegrounds, and I understand the frustration with the connection speeds and stuff like that, and I feel some tweaks could be made to lessen that, but I know I'm in the minority. I know a lot of people just don't like this, and here's my fear about this. I played Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, as you all know, and a lot of you played Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, and they had something called Grand Arena, and I hope they don't make it Grand Arena. I don't. That mode was so boring. It was just Tower 2.0. Same teams over and over again, arena over again. To me, it was so boring. So boring. And then half the time, people didn't even set defenses. And so you just got this mishmash of crap you want to have to go up against. It was really boring, and I really thought the devs here tried something different. And I know the time sync, I've gotten DMs about that and questions about that, but I thought that game mode was pretty enjoyable. And I did experience some lag issues, especially playing from my mobile device, which is a good mobile device, on a very strong internet connection. Still I got beat because of an internet connection. So I thought there were some ways they could improve that mode. Maybe have a delay where each person started, you take the amount of nodes that were available and divided it up. Okay, everybody starts with, let's say there's 10 total nodes. You start with 5, your opponent starts with 5, and then it's based on your attacks and your defenses. That could be a way to do it. But I understand the live portion of it isn't what people wanted, and they need to do what's right by the majority of their players. Because I like it, they shouldn't keep that, because if I'm outnumbered 10 to 1, they need to do what's right for the health of the game, But I'm just hoping they don't make it a Grand Arena copycat mode. They leave it like that, because to me that mode was absolutely boring. Like I said, Tower 2.0, you see the same teams all the time. You know, so I just hope they do something a little bit different, you know. And I've even read that if they just copied Grand Arena, it would have been a huge success. And that is the most successful mode in Star Wars Galaxy Heroes. And I'm not denying that it's not. And a lot of people enjoy it, and a lot of people find it fun. I personally didn't. Now, I got a suggestion from somebody I respect quite a bit on my Discord, and they said, what if they made it like Risk? That would be really cool, the more I think about it. Having it play like Risk would be really cool, because then it's turn-based. And if you haven't played Risk, it's a world domination game. You know, there's a map. You start at one area. You get a turn. You can move and take over a plot. And you don't know where your opponents are. And that would be really cool, because then it's turn-based. Okay, you take a turn. Then it goes back to the next person. Let's just say they have a certain X amount of time to make their turn, and it goes back and forth like that. That would be kind of cool, because it would still have some of the live interaction, because that's what I liked about Battlegrounds, is that you had to compensate in your mind for how somebody else was thinking, and that was challenging to me, and it was different than regular PvP. So, you know, I applaud them for listening to the community, and hopefully this makes people hang out a little longer, because I know there has been a lot of people who just said, screw it, I don't like this game mode, I'm stuck behind this wall here, and to get artifacts I have to play a game mode which isn't enjoyable. I completely 100% understand that, and this game needs to be fun for everybody. So if you're on the fence about this game mode, hold tight, because one of the most common complaints I get is, besides they just don't like the game mode, is I have to play this game mode I don't like to get artifacts. And to get artifacts, that's going to change coming up in the next part here, where it says, some of you were also asking if artifacts or the artifact keys are going to become available in other game modes. The answer is yes. We are going to introduce special new tournaments, reoccurring events, and perhaps you will see artifacts among the T8 Guild Raid rewards as well. Wow. Talk about big info. Wow. T8 coming. People have been complaining that we need content, and I've been one of them that, okay, we got to start introducing new stuff. And yes, it is the same. You know, we're getting a T8 of the raid. It's still the standard raid, but it's another challenge for my guild. You know, Rep 1, we put that thing on farm, and if you don't touch it, if 27 people out of the 30 people don't touch it, we still bring it down in 45 minutes. So bringing up participation in the guilds is going to be huge, and putting in a harder mode of T8 to give us something to do until the new raid is ready, until Battlegrounds is tweaked a little bit more, is huge. Putting artifacts as rewards for the T8 could be big. And what are your thoughts on what's going to happen with T8? Is this how Buff is going to be released? Is Buff going to be the T8 reward? Is there going to be a new character that is a T8 reward? Because we have Shadar at tier 7. They're going to have to put something in T8 to really entice people. And artifacts aren't just going to do it. So possibly a new character is coming to the game. That would be really cool. That is going to be your exclusive T8 reward, like Shadar is tier 7. So I'd really like to see that, and I'm really interested to see how this T8 is going to play out. How much more difficult is it going to be? Is there going to be any tweaks or changes to the AI? Is it going to play exactly the same? Are we going to fight Solius, Hard Orc, Mega Wheel? Or are there going to be, you know, different bosses? Are we going to have to fight all three of them at once? There's a lot of things that can be done, which from a programming standpoint, at least I'm not a programmer, but at least in my mind is way easier than trying to rush out a new raid, trying to rush out tweaks to the Battlegrounds to give us something to do while we continue to grow our roster. And that is just really, really cool to me. And I think it's a really, really good move by them. I really think that putting in a T8 for the time being helps. And maybe I'm wrong in that, so leave your comments down below and let me know what you think about this. We need something more to do, and we need something more challenging, and T8 gives us that. And I really am excited out of this whole thing. You know, the reworks to Battlegrounds, they interest me. But to me, that could go either way. Putting in a T8 is an easy fix to give us some challenging content, to keep us involved with something to do. Yes, I understand, again, it's not new content. It gives us something to do while they don't have to rush and put out a subpar product in the meantime. So I think I beat that one with pretty good, and we are going to move on. This week we are releasing a update with bug fixes for Battlegrounds to change the Battlegrounds scoring. You will no longer be losing as many points for a defeat, and other tweaks and fixes. And popping up on your screen right now is pictures of losses people shared in Discord, and this is completely 100% needed. We need this because you win, you gain 40 points. You lose 90 points. That's insane. I mean, there's pictures of people losing 90 points, 84 points. That was way too much, and that is just a complete drawback for people, and me being one of them. I went into a battleground, I did a battleground, and I lost by 4 points. 4 points. I mean, it was a good match, back and forth, we were taking stuff. It was really enjoyable experience for me. And then when I lost 76 points. And then I fought another one where I won by 11 points. And I gained 41. The math didn't add up. So I'm really glad they're fixing that, because that is one point of contention I heard from a lot of people. And I'm glad they fixed it. Then here, some other things. Here's what's new on 1.2.8 is they lowered the number of points deducted after defeat for Battlegrounds, which we talked about. 3v3 matches added to the Battlegrounds. Might be a little early for that, considering we don't know how everything's going to play out. Wonder Lua and, I can never say this right, Irokaria's hero models get a makeover. So the dragon's going to look different for T8. Or until that comes out. And it's not on the test server yet, so I can't show you, but when it does, I will. Fixed errors that occurred in Battlegrounds, minor fixes and improvements, and then they made a balance change, where they tweaked Mordoom's second ability, Magic and Monsters, summoned 2 demon henchmen with 50% of Mordoom's health and 50% of Mordoom's shield, and 80% of his damage. So they added the shield to that, and they are just going to become a little tankier, and I have to play this and see how it feels. Could be interesting, and it just makes their survivability a little better. And demon teams right now pretty much don't have a tank on them, so you drop these henchmen and they essentially become your tank, so that could increase some survivability there. So very interesting. So that is kind of like the patch update notes and what we are looking at going forward. And there's some things to be excited about, and there's some things we need to see how they play out, and we need to give this time to see how it's going to play out. And maybe you're sick of giving them time, but I don't think you should, because the devs here responded to every issue and concern that we've had, and they're addressing it. So give them time to address it before you move on from the game. 100%. So enough with the patch notes here. We're going to talk a little bit about what's coming up on the channel. And I sat down last night to make a Renora Secret Immortality for noobs, and we can't play it on the test server for some reason. We can play the hard node of it, the hard event of it. We can play all the other events and reset them, and we can't do this one. So Lizardbreath's looking into that for me, And, I wrote and asked Emerald Dragon, but it was late my time. They were sleeping, which is really late their time. So as soon as that can come up and play, I have an idea of how it's going to flow in my head. So I will get out that Renara for Noobs as soon as we are allowed to play it on the test server. Also, I am working on a new giveaway, and I got to work out the semantics of it and how it's going to work. But you all saw the tournament that Carfanax put on for the Game Changers. And what I want to do is I want to put out a tournament where you, the viewers, and myself are in a tournament. We do a draft. There's some stipulations on the draft. We have fun, and then the winner comes on the channel, and we talk about the tournament, and you can kind of be my guest for that day. So I'm just working out how it's going to play out, the semantics of everything. So that is going to be coming to the channel in the near future, so keep an eye out for that. So popping up on the screen now is kind of something else I'm working on, and it is grading them in the tier system. Tier systems are extremely biased, and they're hard to do, and they take a lot of time. So I'm playing with a scoring system. I'm using 5 points in the game. Their kit, how they react in a PvE environment, how they react in arena and battlegrounds, how they're used in raids, and then their plug and play viability. And they're all out of a 1 through 5 scoring system. And if they score like a 1 through 6, they'd be a trash character. If they are a 6 through 11, they're a common. A 12 through a 17, uncommon, etc., etc., etc. And, I would like some feedback before I continue to do this. If maybe I'm off course, maybe I am not thinking of something they could use. But the reason I did kit is because you could have a phenomenal kit but be a terrible character. So that is one way to grade people. PvE. Now, PvE is a very good environment, but some people, like a Selena, are just made for PvE, really. They're not made for arena and battlegrounds. So that needs to be considered. Arena and battlegrounds are their, the PvP part of it is their own environment, and some people are really good there and some people aren't. Like Selena has some viability, so she might get a 2 or a 3. And then raids, somebody like a Master Duo whose kit isn't overwhelming. PvE, yes. Arena battlegrounds, kind of subpar, but raids is where they shine. And then plug and play viability, so like a Solius can be used on any single team. More Doom you can put with any team and he's gonna rock it out. So those are the kind of the categories I'm looking at, and obviously presentation wise I would make it look a lot better. And big shout out to Noth from beadragonchampion.info, links in the description down below. He gave me his cutouts of the character models and helped me, save me a lot of time. So big shout out to him. So if you don't go to that website, you should 100% should go over there and check that out, because it's just improving all the time. So those are kind of some of the things I'm working on, obviously, besides my normal videos and things like that. So let me know what you think about that, and let me know how you would feel about this, because then I could put this card into the noob series. After I've played with them, I can kind of grade them a little bit easier, and I would make a whole video on the grading system, what goes into it, a little more than in-depth than what I explained now. And then I would put out my grades, and maybe I'm wrong on some characters. Maybe a character I had in common is now an uncommon. So it could be an easier and more streamlined way for us to tier system somebody. So yeah, so my YouTube family, that is what I got for everybody today. We looked at the patch notes, and again, just to kind of sum everything up, I think the devs did a really good job by listening to the community, and I hope they continue to make changes to the Battleground system to keep people in the game, number one, and make it a mode that everybody wants to play. I just hope they don't make it a cookie cutter grand arena, and if they did, a lot of people, that's what they want. And if they did it that way, I would still play the game mode. I would not quit the game or anything like that. It's just, to me, it's kind of boring and stale. Then we saw they're bringing out a T8 raid. T8 raid, you know, that gives us something to work for, you know, and I hope they make the rewards really, really good for that. You know, possibly some runes, some higher runes could go in there, some more gear pieces, gold, more gold in that for sure. And then hopefully there's going to be a new character, much like that of Shadar. Hopefully it's not buff, because then I've cured my pride for nothing, but I had to do it anyways. So that is an option, but maybe there's a new character, or the new, you know, maybe there's going to be a new race that's put behind the T8, so we'll have to wait and see on that one. The character models are coming, and some bug fixes along with the 3v3. So we got a lot of stuff to look forward to in this patch, and hopefully it comes sooner rather than later, especially changing the points. That is going to be big for a lot of people. So that is what I got for everybody today. I love y'all. I'll see you in the next one. I'm out.